What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons.
Between the Cons.
There it is. You took a sharp inhale like you were going to do it.
I know.
And then you hesitated.
I was building dramatic tension.
Anyways, my name is Chris. I am your fearless leader, and with me today, Mr. Naughty List.
Ahoy.
There he is.
There it is.
Ahoy. It's been a while since the ahoy. 2 months.
Right?
Yeah.
Some change? Almost 3.
Early November.
Yeah.
The OzCons.
Last year.
Good to you.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, last time you were on the show was episode 200. And this is episode 220.
Yeah, so 20 episodes. I like that.
20 episodes. Which,
I'm good at math.
2 episodes a week. That's 10 weeks. Nailed it. Maths. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are going to be bringing you some nerdy news, but before we do that, hit us up on the internet. You can find us at Between the Cons on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram.
On Friendster.
Not on Friendster.
Zanga.
Nope.
MySpace.
No.
Squarespace. Not Squarespace. What was the...
We are on Squarespace.
What was the
because that's a website.
What was the check-in one?
Foursquare. We're not on that.
I knew it had...
Please do not check in to the podcast because that means you're in my house.
And that's uncomfortable.
And that's weird. That's super weird. I don't even know what to do right now. We were talking about, follow us on the internet. Also, leave a review on the iTunes store, on the podcast app. Leave us those 5 stars. We love it.
Do it.
Now, news. We've got some good news for you today.
We've got some news.
We've got some really funny...
We've got some capital N news.
Capital N news. Yep.
We're going to have a pineapple situation. What should I do? Pineapple. The word that cannot be spoken. Pineapple.
Just want to say pineapple. If
Pineapples are fun. My dad used to
Pineapple.
throw them at me.
Pineapple.
Seriously? Wow.
For the first story, in case you guys didn't hear, Disney bought Fox.
Yep.
Or at least parts of Fox. Bits of Fox.
20th century. Fox.
20th century. Yeah. Which, as we all know, brings in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Which we've talked about.
Into the MCU.
On...
probably multiple occasions.
Many occasions. In like bits and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, those of you out there who are hardcore.
Those of you who
are hardcore X-Men fans or Fantastic Four fans, which, given the movie history of the Fantastic Four, I'm sorry. And you're probably not a fan anymore. But, probably hoping that they would be integrated into the MCU quickly, right? At least that's what I would have assumed. It's not like there's a money issue there because they got bought for $11 billion. But unfortunately, Marvel has yet to consider how they're going to integrate X-Men or Fantastic Four into the MCU. Part of that issue is because, as you guys know, they've planned out the next decade of movies that they're going to release. And they've already started work on movies up through... What's the last one that's coming out? Is it...
The next one that's coming out?
No, like the last of like the ones that they've probably already started production on. Or maybe not production, but like... Is it Avengers 4?
In the phase is Avengers 4.
Avengers 4.
Yeah.
And then we know that the next Spider-Man's probably going to come out shortly thereafter, although that's not official yet. But that's another year and a half and some change out.
Right.
And so there's not a lot of wiggle room in there to just kind of
2020
to just kind of shim in like an X-Men movie.
Right.
Especially since it's probably going to require a lot of retooling with, you know, Hugh Jackman.
We will see a cameo, like not a Hugh Jackman cameo, but like
we'll get a teaser,
a Cyclops optic beam,
or
like,
something
in the background, or something like that, before we'll get an X-Men announcement.
Negasonic
teenage warhead.
Negatronic, middle-aged
Transformer.
submarine.
Submarine. Yep, that's it.
Just gills. Breathe underwater. But yeah, Kevin Feige actually says about kind of the folding in of the two new teams.
Mm-hmm.
It would be years away, is what he said.
Which is fair.
We've announced everything through 2019, so none of those things would be adjusted.
Well, I mean, they're just not talking about it.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to me. Like, let's do this. Something crazy like $52 billion acquisition. And then just, like, hang out for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
let's
like,
just sit on it for 2 years.
I'm going to buy $1 million home and then maybe live in it 4 years from now.
Right.
But in all honesty, like, at least, I mean, the success, at least I think, of Logan and a couple of the X-Men movies aside, like, it'd be kind of hard for me to get excited about bringing in the Fantastic Four or the X-Men, just because, for one, the Fantastic Four movies have just been bad.
I would say if we get a character cameo, the first one we're getting is the Thing, and it's going to appear alongside the Hulk.
What about, did they get Silver Surfer?
Yeah.
Because with all the cosmic stuff going on, I feel like...
Yeah, Captain Marvel, Guardians, that would make sense.
Like we might get a Silver Surfer, which I would be super down for that.
I mean, Silver Surfer was technically Fantastic Four property.
Yeah.
Like, that was a part of the...
Yeah, that was in that last movie with, you know...
Like, in Kang the Conqueror, and, like, that was a part of, like...
The bundle.
Enveloped in with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So, you know, we may get a cameo in the next... You know, in one of their famous post-credit scenes or something like that. But regardless, at some point, we know we're going to get something. So be on the lookout for it. But don't get your hopes up that you'll see someone or something this decade. Because 2020 is the next decade.
I hate everything about you today.
Pineapple.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp got a Can you not hit the microphone with your phone, please?
I thought you were laughing at my buzz.
No, I was laughing that I just heard. Ant-Man and the Wasp got a new trailer from Marvel Studios. The first trailer, and it is awesome. It looks really good. They packed a bunch into it. They actually packed a really similar scene into it with the Wasp, like the kitchen fight, where in Ant-Man, he, like, jumps on the bullet.
Yeah.
And in Ant-Man and the Wasp, a bad guy is throwing chef's knives across the kitchen, and she runs alongside the edge of one. Hank Pym is back.
Yeah.
Scott Lang is back. Evangeline Lilly is back. I don't know her name in the movie. I can't think of it right now.
Wasp.
I'm blanking on it. Wasp is back.
Waspy McWasperson.
Lots of really awesome shrinky things.
So many shrinky things.
Really awesome growy things as well.
Shrinky and growy things.
Like a Hello Kitty Pez dispenser gets shot with the big gun. Gets thrown out of the back of a van, shot with the big gun, and knocks a dude off his motorcycle.
Oh, real funny.
Hank Pym shrinks an entire, like, skyscraper office building into a rolling suitcase.
That has the extendable handle that were in the original construction plans.
Which is, we were talking about this earlier. Someone built a full-sized building.
I don't think that's to code.
With a handle. Like, what's this part? Ventilation.
It's don't worry about that.
Do some ventilation. Shrinks a building, pulls a handle up, and then rolls it away.
Which that means everything had to be, like, glued to its surface.
Yeah.
Because he tilted that thing a good 45 degrees.
Oh, for sure.
Everything just falls to the front of the building. One person still in there got shrunk. Son of a gun!
What is happening?
Is that your tiny voice?
Yeah. I don't have any helium, so that's the best I've got. But anyways, movie's coming out July 6th. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, it's the first in what I'm sure will be many trailers to come. So check it out. We will definitely be reviewing the movie when it comes out in July. So only 6 months to go.
Word.
Pinaple.
So for those of you that don't know the name Jim Caviezel,
I'm so excited for this.
he famously played the character of Jesus Christ in the movie The Passion. Was it The Passion or The Passion of Jesus Christ?
Passion.
I think it's
The Passion of the Christ.
That's what it was. By Mel Gibson, came out when...
Passion of Jesus Christ was a John Piper book.
Right.
Yeah.
So that movie came out when I was in high school. So over a decade ago. And in case you don't know the story of Jesus, it builds to 30 years.
Alert.
Builds to 30 years, does 3 years of ministry, then, he gets killed and
I love that you just said builds to 30 years old.
builds,
Because in my head, I thought like the story builds, but he was a carpenter, so he built until he
I
was
wasn't
30.
going with that, but I'll take the pun. They just come out naturally at this point. And then 3 days later, rises from the dead, and then ascends into heaven, according to the Bible, the biblical narrative. In a stroke of what some might call brilliance,
Some giant asterisk next to some.
Jim Caviezel is in talks to play Jesus in a sequel to a movie where there's no more story directly involving him afterwards.
Do you think it's going to be called The Wrath of the Christ? And it's going to be like about the second coming?
I think it's going to be like
Left Behind?
No, I think it's going to be like one of those street dance movies. And he's going to have himself a dance crew, and they're going to have like the Judea showdown.
Is it going to be called Stomp Golgotha?
Stomp the Galilee.
Stomp the Galilee.
The title track is going to be called Wumpum Galilee Style.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see if they stick with what could be considered canonical literature.
Right.
For those of you that don't come from the Christian faith background, you probably don't. Yeah, I mean, you might know why this is funny, but for those of you that do adhere to that, I hope you're as confused as I am.
I've had my head in my hands this whole time. I don't really understand it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Because they did a movie about Paul, and that's really what happens after.
Mel Gibson had to go, of all my movies, I want to make a sequel. Of all my movies, Passion of the Christ.
It will be my crowning achievement.
Crowning achievement.
Hey. So, more details to follow.
Doubtful.
This is not going to be one of those that whatever the movie does will be considered canon and then can get added to the story. Like, it's
not that kind of canon.
That's the book that it comes from actually says don't add anything to this. So this will be a. Well, we'll keep you in with
nice size handbasket. Mel Gibson will be riding into hell, I think.
On the developments on this one. So yeah, pineapple.
So worse than that potentially. They're making a Bad Boys spin-off series. And yes, I just said that's potentially worse than writing a sequel to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Anyways, NBC is
hard-hitting news here, folks.
NBC is going to be making is making a spin-off series for Bad Boys, the Will Smith and not Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence,
and Nelly.
Nelly.
Bad Boy 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
Woo woo. Whoop, whoop.
Shake your tail feather.
I know too much of that song.
I think we all do. We went to basketball games in high school. But anyways, the movie is going to be centered around Gabrielle Union's character from Bad Boys 2, who moved to Miami from LA for a fresh start. The most interesting part about this for me is Ernie Hudson of Ghostbuster fame is going to be playing her father, who is, from the photos, is also a cop. I cannot see him in this role doing anything different from his Ghostbusters performance. So I'm pretty excited about that. But it is being produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced the Bad Boy movie or both Bad Boy movies. Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2.
The Return of the Boy. The Passion of the Boy.
Bad Boys 2. No treat for you. It's a movie about dogs. Isn't it? What is it about? I have seen. I love those movies. But anyways, the plot synopsis for the movie. Free-spirited former DEA agent Burnett has a fresh start in her new job as an LAPD detective. She's partnered with, to LA from Miami, not Miami to LA, like I said earlier. She's partnering with Nancy McKenna, a working mom who can't help but look at Sid's freedom with some grass is greener envy. These two have totally different lifestyles and approaches, but they are both at the top of their fields in this action-packed, character-driven procedural.
Wait, I think she is moving to LA because she's starting her new job as an LAPD detective.
Right, but earlier I said moves to Miami from LA. And
I think you actually had it right the first time.
And I meant moves to LA from Miami.
Bienvenidos a Miami.
Did you just...
Pero de gasolina.
Pineapple. I don't want this to go on anymore.
So I'm
gonna quickly preface this. Cole was a pineapple short for the show, so I made him talk about this one because we talked about it because Kyle brought it up mid-10th pineapple on the last show, which was my pineapple. He brought it up. He was like, "Oh yeah," and Ryan Reynolds is doing that thing, and it was like, "What?" So I made Cole talk about this one so we could actually have a full-length pineapple point about it.
That's thinking ahead. I didn't know how to fill the space before I started talking about it. I'm sorry.
So there you go.
So Ryan Reynolds is going to be cast in the remake of Clue. He's playing I'm blanking.
Butler.
He's playing the butler, who was originally played by Tim Curry.
Not Tim Meadows,
Nope.
Which is what I said last week.
Which big footsteps to follow in. Like,
oh, for sure.
Tim Curry. Okay.
But they definitely have the same
energy.
Yes. They have the same demeanor, really. It's just targeted for two different generations.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like Ryan Reynolds is the Tim Curry.
He's our Tim Curry, yes.
Of our generation.
Yeah. Deadpool and Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know, they're right up there with each other.
They're basically the same movie.
So basically, there's an article circulating that is ideal fan casting.
Yes.
Like who the fans, and by the fans, the person who wrote this article, would want cast as each of the characters. So I'm going to run through them really quick.
And we're going to talk about it,
and we're going to talk about it. So Professor Plum as Key.
Yes.
Originally played by Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. Keegan-Michael Key from
Key and Peele.
Yep. A.A. Ron. You done messed up.
Yeah, and also, what was the movie with them and the cat?
Keanu. Which was an awesome movie.
I never saw it. I really wanted to.
I went into it expecting the worst. And I had a good time.
So yeah, Mrs. White is Laurie Metcalf.
Yep, from Roseanne.
Roseanne. Yeah. Miss Peacock to be Catherine O'Hara.
I mean, I'll allow either.
Who, if you don't remember, she was the mom in the Home Alone movies.
Perfect.
So she's really good at losing her son, but also really good at
And
moving mountains.
who is that? Who is she gonna play?
Miss Peacock.
Miss Peacock. Okay. So that definitely fits because Miss Peacock was like kind of the coog.
Yeah. I'm so uncomfortable with that word.
So she's older.
Yeah.
Is it because I said the coog?
Yes.
Or is it just overall
No,
cougars?
No, just the coog.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like a B superhero from the Black Panther franchise.
The coog.
Who are you again? I'm the coog. No, man, we don't.
Sidekick to the claw.
Mr. Green to be played by Paul F. Tompkins.
Okay. I don't love that one.
Yeah.
That's what Josh Gad is for.
Yeah. Miss Scarlet to be played by Janelle Monáe, which,
Yeah.
I totally have a crush on Janelle Monáe.
I don't know.
She's awesome.
I don't know.
But we'll see. Colonel Mustard to be played by Reginald Vell Johnson? Vell Johnson?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, is that a...
Yeah, you know
He's
what?
Carl Winslow!
I would take Janelle Monáe. Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Also, just realized that Reginald Vell Johnson is Carl
It's Carl Winslow. Yeah.
And the Cop and Die Hard.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. I love that one.
Yeah, and so that's all they have on this list. They have
Like honorable mentions.
cameos, which Rowan Atkinson, which seeing Mr.
Yes.
Bean in anything,
Yes.
yes. Weird Al Yankovic, no thank you.
They have Ali Wong, which please do not.
No. Mark Evan Jackson.
Kumail Nanjiani.
I'm down for anything Kumail
Yeah.
Nanjiani wants to be in. I was already a huge fan of
I would
his,
love
and then
that.
I watched The Big Sick, and it's one of the best movies ever. Kim Jong, and Jordan Peele. If you have Key, you have to have Peele.
You have to have that, yeah.
Yeah, easily.
If you got ketchup, you got to have mustard.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? You got peanut butter, you have to have mayonnaise. I mean, jelly. How do you eat your sandwiches?
I just got physically sick of the thought of a peanut butter and mayonnaise. So that's a good segue. Pineapple.
So this one is my pineapple, specifically for Cole to talk about, because I saw this and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna claim this one for my notes before Cole can claim it for his notes, just to piss him off. So Sam Raimi, who did the Spider-Man movies, the Evil Dead movies,
The first Spider-Man movies.
yeah, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3,
The Tobey Maguire.
Evil Dead,
Kirsten Dunst.
Ash versus Evil Dead, those movies. He is directing a new project.
Yup.
And that project is the King Killer Chronicles.
Yup.
Based on the book that Mr. Naughty List and the Ginger Giant never shut up talking about.
That's not true. That's true about the Ginger Giant.
That is true about the Ginger Giant. And Chris too, for that matter. But it is based on the series by Pat Rothfuss. Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame will be the creative producer and musical mastermind.
Yeah. Which, when I first heard that there was going to be something like that, I was a
Cocked your
little
head
confused.
like a confused puppy.
Yes, but then I remembered, for those of you that don't know, the main character Quoth is basically
A bard.
a troubadour.
Oh, a troop. That's what I meant.
Yeah, same thing. With like magical powers.
Right.
And so, and music is actually a very integral part to the story. So the fact that Lin-Manuel Miranda, I always want to say, it's hard for me to say. LMM. Yep, the old Linners. The fact that he's doing, like, he's overseeing that, I'm super excited about.
It is encouraging,
We're
for sure.
gonna have some like pseudo hip hop, just throwing some beats down
It's gonna be like the
while you're wearing your livery.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes, Romeo and Juliet.
Mercutio in that was so good.
But the movie's going to be an adaptation of The Name of the Wind, which is the first book in the series. So that potentially opens it up for sequels based on the second book. And
whenever the heck the third book's coming out.
Maybe one day the third book.
Still waiting on that, Pat. Because I know you listen.
The script is being penned by Lindsay Beer, who this one was a little concerning to me when I first read it, because the article I first read it from said that she worked on Transformers The Last Night. However, I couldn't find her in the credits for Transformers The Last Night because I do my homework. So I don't know if she worked on Transformers The Last Night. Either way, she has a ton of credits coming up in the next 2 to 3 years, including the Dungeons and Dragons movie, Short Circuit remake, which Johnny Five for life, ROM, which is based on a
Range of Motion,
super deep cut.
It's a workout film. No,
it's a super deep cut Marvel comic about a robot. Like, it's basically
I don't think you really need to explain.
I'm not going to. He's a robot.
There you go. Robot movie.
He's a Marvel robot.
It's a marvelous robot.
Godzilla versus Kong. She's working on that.
Oh, yeah.
She also has a movie in her credits coming up that's just called Barbie. Hopefully that's not like Barbie dolls.
I don't know. We've got D&D, Short Circuit, Marvelous Robot.
There was a
Godzilla, King Kong.
There was a Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out, I want to say in the 90s.
No, I'm just saying, like, she's very, like, nerd heavy on those things. The clicking is Chris's keyboard, by the way. In case you can hear that, which I know you can.
They know. They've listened to this podcast since I got it.
It's like we're in like the center of the park with all those, and then from left field comes Barbie.
Barbie? Oh yeah, year 2000 has a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
2 stars on IMDb.
Yeah.
Wow.
10% on Rotten Tomatoes. It had a really great cast: Jeremy Irons, Marlon Wayans. You know?
Yeah. That's when I think of Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, what else do you need?
I think of Marlon, and his character's name is Snail.
Snail. Yep.
Snails.
It was not good. 10% is probably a little generous. But anyways, Sam Raimi's new film project, Lindsay Beer. Let's see what you got. You better kill it in a good way.
Yeah, this has potential to be like
dollar bills, y'all.
Really good addition to that kind of like fantasy.
Do not Dark Tower it.
No, don't Dark Tower it. But to that fantasy, like, and a bit more modern.
Sure.
Fantasy, right? Because this is not that old of a story. It's not like a throwback to Tolkien,
right?
You know, or it's not. I mean, even the Dark Tower came out decades ago.
The third book is not out, and it could still come out. Like that's what we're trying to say.
It was more like Harry Potter in its heyday, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So super excited about that. Hopefully.
Yeah. So as we learn more information on that, we'll share it with you guys.
Yeah.
But Cole has an interesting one for you. Pineapple.
Jumanji now surpasses Spider-Man domestically in dollar bills grossed.
Which is
it did that by sitting atop the box office for 4 weeks straight.
Still weird.
I saw it 2 days ago. One of the more fun yet still good movies I've seen in a minute.
I have not seen it. I want to see it.
It was I enjoyed almost every single minute of that movie. And granted, I'm kind of a cheap date when it comes to movies. Like, unless it's real bad.
Your on-air name should be Mr. Agreeable.
Yeah, I'm no Ginger Giant. Right? Like, I'm
hating things for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him to hear this.
Yeah.
Because he loves it when I say that he hates Star Wars for no reason.
Yeah, he's probably gonna send an angry text message.
It has a 76 on the Tomatometer.
And a 90% audience score, which is a very accurate sentiment.
That's really impressive.
But it was the #1 movie in the world for 4 weeks.
That's crazy.
It was only just recently passed this weekend by the Maze Runner Death Cure.
So let me tell you this. There's a light up sign for the movie theater on I-25 on my way to work, right off of Hamden Avenue.
Oh, yeah, on the left?
Yeah, and there is, for the Death Cure, so it's just like one of those cheapo, like...
Yeah, the red LED.
Red LEDs.
Yeah.
But for the Death Cure, they switched it. So, like, Maze Runner...
red, but it's black.
Maze Runner, the Death Cure, is, like, no lights on. And the whole sign is lit up red, but it does this, like, weird gradient. So it's, like, darker around the outside and slightly lighter towards the inside. And it freaked me out.
That sounds stressful.
Yesterday morning.
That sounds really stressful. But Spider-Man: Homecoming made $334 million domestically, and Jumanji just hit 338.
338.7 at time of recording.
Yeah. So, and honestly, I would say it's probably one of the better $10 movie tickets I've bought in a while.
Huh.
It was really, it was really fun. Really fun. Do I think it was better than Spider-Man? No, but box office grossing doesn't always mean better movie, right?
That's true.
It still hasn't surpassed Spider-Man worldwide, but domestically, yeah. So there's that. That's fun.
That's crazy.
Pineapple.
Captain Marvel is making waves everywhere.
Like the moon?
Yeah, on the moon, she's making waves. So we got some set photos, a set video of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, and people immediately started freaking out, which was super fun for me. We got our first look of a suit, potentially the suit from some paparazzi. The suit is green and black, but it looks exactly like what she's wearing in the promo photos that we received when they first announced the character.
Wait, is this one of those, like, is it a gold and
No.
yellow?
No, it's actually, it's
okay.
for realsies green. There are currently two schools of thought on speculation on what the green is. School one, which is probably the more likely, is that it's the early version of the suit, which was black and green. Also, there are classic cars in the background, so, like, it's possible. Like, it makes good sense. The second one, which was my first thought upon seeing it, and then I continued looking and saw other things, was that it's green for, like, color correction in post. Because the green is everywhere that would be red or...
so they're adding... fancy
yellow.
schmancy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and like we had the interview with Pat Haskew on the show from Third Floor Studios, or Third Floor Visualization. There it is.
Visualize the word.
Yes.
And say it.
But he was on the show and he said something that made me immediately think like that's what they're doing, and I just like immediately wrote it off. I was like, cool. But he said everything gets a little bit of polish, or a little bit of 3D polish. Everything from someone's hair to their suit. And like I immediately thought about that and I was like, cool. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And immediately wrote it off. And then like the next day came back looking through all the photos and was like, oh no, this is just the early.
It also could be a both and.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it is the exact same suit. It's got the star in the middle, like all the
Spangles.
I don't want to say trim, but that's the only word that's coming to mind.
Accoutrement.
Yeah, accoutrement. Is silver, but it could be gold on the fancier suit, the newer suit. But anyways, the video is kind of cool. It shows her shaking a man's hand, and uses her energy projection blast Daroonies to shock him to the ground. They're not called energy.
Blasteroonies.
They're not called energy projection blasteroonies.
Treats. Oh.
It's not what they're called. She used her energy
That's what
projection.
Iron Mans are called.
Yeah, the blasteroonies. That's what the wasps are called. That's what Ant-Man will call the wasps. Blasters. Blasteroonies.
Yeah, I could see that.
But anyways, uses her energy projection to shock a man to the ground. Super cool. Obviously, it was a paparazzi video, so it didn't have like any special effects. But we'll see if anything gets added in post. That movie is coming out March of next year.
Whoop, whoop.
So only about a year to go. Like a year and some change. So hopefully we'll find out the story behind the suit soon enough. And we'll be able to explain it to you in confidence at that point. Or with confidence, not in confidence.
It's going to be a secret.
It's a secret. Pineapple. In confidence.
So there's another video game movie coming out. Yay! Starring, here's my favorite actors, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I have a very special place in my heart for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yes.
He's fantastic.
Yes.
But in case you haven't heard, the movie is called Rampage.
Yep.
Which,
watch it.
If you never went to a skating rink or an arcade as a child, you wouldn't know what this game is, because I think that's the only place it existed.
That's certainly what it feels like.
Yeah. But the director, Brad Payton, was basically, it was brought up to him like, hey, you're making a video game movie. How are you going to keep it from sucking like every other video game movie?
Right. His answer, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah. Biceps. That's what his answer was. His answer was actually a little confusing to me. The first thing he said, he basically was like, I didn't even know that video game movies were bad. Like, he didn't realize that.
That's a problem.
Do you watch movies? Like,
have you ever seen a movie?
Do you just watch like Leo DiCaprio movies or something, don't you? Like, that's.
You know, Resident Evil had 5 movies. Did you know that there were 5 of them?
I think I've seen 3 of them.
Or maybe there may.
I think there were 5,
6.
5 or 6. Probably about 4 too many.
At least.
Yeah, the first one wasn't bad.
The first one was great.
But so that was the first thing he said, was that like, oh, I didn't even know they were bad. But then, which is a halfway decent reason, he said the reason that Rampage wouldn't suffer the same fate is because essentially the video game Rampage was obscure and had no storyline.
That is correct.
How can a movie screw that up? In case you didn't know, the game is basically you have control of a giant crocodile,
lizard,
a reptilian, reptile, ape, or wolf.
And you eat and beat up buildings.
You climb to the top of the building and you punch down the side, down and click. Yep. And then you climb up to this other side and you do the same thing. Like, that's what the game is.
That is
no storyline.
That is true.
You eat people from out of the windows. It's just really disturbing.
Knock down helicopters.
Yep. So in some ways, it's like, well, yes, there's no deep-seated like attachment to a particular storyline that the video game created that you then have to adhere to or modify. It's, oh, how do you take a video game that had absolutely no plot line and turn it into something with a plot line?
Is there going to be a giant lizard and wolf? That's what I need to know.
Have you not seen the trailer?
Are they there?
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen one with both.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
And in before Jumanji, you see George the big ape, and then you see the giant wolf, and then in classic action movie fashion, the giant.
They all had really silly
lizard
names.
It's like George and
Boris was the rhino.
I don't remember the
Ralph was
Lizzie.
Ralph was the wolf.
That's Wreck-It. That was a Wreck-It Ralph joke.
Yeah, I know. I'm sighing at you.
I don't even remember I just remember Lizzie, Ralph, and George. But yeah, the crocodile like jumps up out of the water and almost eats a helicopter in classic fashion. So, in his defense, like, it probably won't fall to the same curse because, you know, a lot of people probably don't know that it's a video game, and if you do, you realize that there's no plot to it. it might still be a bad movie, but it won't be because it's a video game movie.
Right. It won't be because it did an injustice to the video game.
Yeah. So, yeah, that one's actually coming out pretty soon. But yeah, be on the lookout for it. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, biceps, pineapple.
So Hans Zimmer,
The Zims.
composer,
The Zimmeister.
he
Zimmeroni.
announced a few years ago that he was retiring from superhero movies. He's got a ton of movies in his resume, 115 to be exact,
To be precise.
including the Dark Knight trilogy, the Man of Steel, BVS DOJ. He also did
Did he do Pirates?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Which are fantastically scored.
Yeah. He did Blade Runner 2049, Interstellar, Inception, like a ton of movies that have like that are known for having good scores. And Evan Peters, who plays Quicksilver in the X-Men, the Fox X-Men movies, just kind of accidentally announced that Hans Zimmer is scoring this superhero movie that he announced his own retirement from a couple years ago.
But it's under a pseudonym, Zahn Himmers.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yes.
Hanzsimmr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also cooks on the side,
Yeah.
but very slowly.
But very slowly. But on low heat with a lid. But anyways, I'm intrigued. He makes great music. I say I'm intrigued because I don't care. Because I do not have any hope for X-Men Dark Phoenix. Especially with everything happening with Fox and Marvel Studios.
Is it Fox still producing it?
Fox is still making it. It was
Is that like a grandfather?
Yeah.
We already started
essentially.
this, so you can't take it from us.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was something that was already underway. So through the acquisition of Fox by Disney, it was you guys get to finish what you're working on. So I don't have any hope in it. If it tanks,
It'll probably sound good.
it's gonna sound great. But if it tanks, like, it doesn't matter, because they can just be like, well, we weren't gonna do another one anyways. We don't have anything slated right now, so no.
Because we don't own our own company.
And if it's good, then great. Like, go out with a bang. Like, I hope it's good. The Dark Phoenix storyline is fantastic in the X-Men. So if it does good, great. Like, everyone's happy. Fox went out with a bang. Disney has a strong movie to kick into X-Men.
Springboard.
Yeah. If it doesn't, then it's like, well, good thing we bought Fox because they can't do it, right? Halfway through that,
Disney's from Arkansas, by the way.
halfway through that, it turned into a Southern accent for some reason. But yeah, I think it's cool that Hans Zimmer is going to be back. I love the sounds that man can make. But I don't care about Dark Phoenix, despite the fact that I'm going to see it opening weekend, and I am going to review it on this podcast. So hopefully it's better than Apocalypse.
Ooh, it's not that hard.
Not that hard at all. Pineapple. And that is it. That's everything for the show.
Hey, we did it.
We made it all the way through.
I don't know if you guys did, but we sure did.
Yeah. Bring it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check out our website, betweenthecons.com, where you can sponsor the show. You can stream our episodes, link out to our social media. You can find Afixa, who makes all the theme music that we use. And you can subscribe. Betweenthecons.com/subscribe.
Do it.
Do it. Every Monday, every Thursday, we're releasing a new show.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss out on the fun. And we're going to be back on Monday.
Yeah, we are.
We have no idea what we're talking about yet. But by God, it's going to be a good show.
We're going to talk about something.
We're going to talk about something. So subscribe to the show. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Hasta la pasta.